the person that you're trying to become is actually one that might be destroying you. So have you ever had one of those moments? In fact, I know you've had these moments where from the outside, your life looks good, it looks normal. But on the inside, there's this feeling that you can't quite shake. I'm not talking about depression or laziness. I'm talking about that strange feeling that always arrives when the room finally goes quiet. Your phone's facing down. Netflix stopped asking you if you're still watching. You might have been to the gym. Your work's finished. Everyone else has gone to bed. Then just for a few seconds before you find the next distraction, there's that tiny voice in your head that you've become oh so good at avoiding, saying, is this it? Is this really the life that I want? And I think that's one of the bravest questions that a human being can ask, because if you're honest, you already know the answer. So I don't think you're watching this because you need another productivity hack. I don't think you're even watching this because you need another motivational speech telling you to wake up at 5 a.m. or go and take cold showers. I think you're watching this because part of you already knows something has got to change. Not your job, not your bank account, not your relationship, you. Or maybe that's the wrong word, not you specifically, but the version of you that you've spent years trying to become. Because I keep wondering whether one of the biggest lies that we've been taught is happiness lives with a future version of ourselves. How many times have you told yourself, when I lose that weight, when I make that money, when I finally meet the right person, when I finally become disciplined, when people finally respect me, then I'll finally relax. Then I'll finally be proud. Then I'll finally feel like I'm enough. What if that's the real lie? What if that version of you isn't actually saving you? What if you've spent years sacrificing your peace and your happiness to impress a version of yourself that doesn't even exist? That thought scares me, because there was multiple periods in my life where I genuinely couldn't tell the difference between ambition and self-rejection. I thought I wanted success, but looking back, I don't think I did. I think I wanted relief. Relief from the feeling that I wasn't enough. I thought if I become stronger, richer, I'd stop feeling weak. I thought if I made more money, I'd stop feeling insignificant. I thought if I built the perfect physique, I'd stop feeling insecure. I thought if enough people respected me, I'd finally respect myself. Can you see the trap there? Every goal like that looks healthy from the outside, but all those goals that I had were being driven by fear and nobody else saw it, not even me. That's the most frightening part about performance, because if you perform and wear this mask well enough, eventually you start believing the performance and believing in the mask yourself. Because there was a time in my life where you'd have probably looked at me and thought I was driven, disciplined, focused, ambitious. What they couldn't see was that almost every decision I made was being made by someone who didn't believe that he deserved to stand still. I couldn't relax because relaxing felt unproductive. I couldn't celebrate because somebody else was already ahead. I couldn't enjoy my present because my mind was already negotiating with the future. That's not living. I was constantly trying to earn permission to live, and that nearly destroyed me in multiple ways. Could have been the addiction that nearly destroyed me, or the debt, but I disagree. The addiction was visible. The real disease was much quieter. It was believing that the person I was today wasn't worthy of love until I became somebody better, happier, richer, smarter tomorrow. Drugs were one way of escaping that feeling. Then achievement became another. Then constantly working became another. And then constant busyness and business became another. Then constant self-improvement became another. Nobody talks about that addiction, the addiction to trying to become. The addiction that believing that the current version of you is always one step away from finally deserving happiness and peace. Maybe that's why so many successful people still feel empty. Not because success failed them, but because they expected success to do a job that it was never designed to do. Because achievement can build confidence, but it cannot build self-worth. The same as money can buy freedom, but it cannot teach you to like yourself. Muscle can change your body, it will change your body, but it cannot heal the inner child inside of you that feels like he needs to be better to be loved. I wish somebody had told me that years ago. It would have saved so much pain. Because I remember sitting in my car one evening after work, nothing dramatic had even happened. Nobody had died, nobody had broken my heart. I wasn't crying, I was just flat, empty, staring into the distance. I was sitting there in my car watching people walk past the windscreen, carrying shopping bags, talking about and laughing about stuff that probably didn't even matter. And I had this overwhelming feeling that I was watching life go by instead of living it. And that scared me because I realised I'd become incredibly good at surviving. I just wasn't sure that I remembered how to live anymore. And that was the day that everything changed. Not because I found the answer, but because I finally admitted that I'd been asking all the wrong questions. I'd spent years asking, how do I become more? And then I started asking, why do I believe who I am today isn't enough and doesn't deserve happiness? And they're completely different questions. One creates endless chasing. The other starts to create happiness and healing. That's when the therapy became different. That's when my gratitude started to feel different. And then that's when my growth became different. Because people hear the words that I use for my coaching, gratitude and growth, and assume I'm talking about positive thinking and journals, but I'm not. I'm talking about rebuilding the relationship that you've got with yourself. Because if you wake up every morning believing you're fundamentally behind, then no amount of success will ever allow you to catch up. You simply just move the finish line a little bit further into the distance, again, and again, until I realised that the finish line wasn't moving. I was carrying the belief that I wasn't enough into every single new chapter of my life, expecting the chapter to change the story, but it never could, because wherever you go, you still take yourself with you. That's why I stopped obsessing over becoming a better man, and I became obsessed with becoming a happier, more grateful, more fulfilled one. Honest about what was frightening me, honest about where I was hiding from myself, honest about the masks that I was wearing in different situations, honest about how exhausting it is trying to maintain an identity that was built to impress other people than express who you really are. Do you know what freedom feels like now? Because it isn't money, it isn't status, it isn't being recognised, it isn't fame. Freedom is waking up on a random Wednesday morning, excited to live, realising you don't need to become anybody else to allow yourself to enjoy the day you've got today. That's real freedom, because building a life doesn't require escaping. Building relationships that don't require you to wear a mask. Building a business that reflects values and your value instead of taking and taking. Building a body because you respect yourself, not because you hate yourself. That's why I say gratitude is the gateway to growth. Not because gratitude makes life easy and is all soft woo-woo Instagram vibes, because the moment you stop negotiating with yourself and putting happiness in the future, you can appreciate what you got right now, and it becomes an expression of self-respect. So let me leave you with one question today. Not the question society asks, not what do you do, or how much do you earn, or what's your 5-year plan, but this question: if nobody was watching, if nobody applauded, if nobody cared what car you drove, what watch you had on your wrist, what clothes you wore, or what your job title was, or how many followers you had, would you still choose the life that you're building today? Don't answer me, answer yourself, because I honestly believe the answer to that question predicts the quality of your future far more accurately than your income ever will. And if this video stirred something inside you that you can't quite explain, don't let it be another piece of content that you just consume before scrolling on to the next thing. Click the link in the description and book yourself a breakthrough call. And for 1 hour, we won't talk about hacks or shortcuts. We'll uncover the self-beliefs and the identities that have been holding you back from truly enjoying your life and building a life that you're excited to wake up to. Because the greatest tragedy isn't dying before your time. It's spending your entire life becoming somebody when you could just be that person now, abandoning the person that you spend every second of your life with, which ultimately is yourself. So take a bit of inspiration from the big boy Michael Jackson, starting with the man in the mirror. You know me, I like to always just say what's on my mind, come with what's on my mind. It's real, it's raw, it's from a place of passion. So like I say, this is what I work on with my coaching clients, because it's the journey I've been through in my life. From addiction, from debt, from constantly feeling like I'm never enough, to now I'm grateful and growing. That's why my coaching is called Gratitude and Growth. Because once you start feeling grateful for who you are and what you're doing, the growth becomes much more easier. Now I make money, now I train, now I get in better shape, now I travel the world because I'm grateful. It's a catch-22. So I'll see you on the breakthrough call when you click the link in the description and go and book your breakthrough call. And if you're still done and you're still just sitting on the fence waiting to actually take some action, then I'll see you in the next video. Let's fucking go.